Today, we're diving into FQFT, a really radical theory that totally reimagines our universe. It suggests it wasn't some cosmic accident, but a deliberate 14-layer structure built on a foundation of pure, unbending logic.
And really, that question gets right to the heart of FQFT. It throws out the whole idea of a chaotic Big Bang. Instead, it proposes that our reality was assembled methodically, layer by layer, from a blueprint that existed before anything else.
And this is what that blueprint looks like in action. FQFT calls it the Cosmogenesis Stack, 14 distinct dimensional layers. Each one builds on the last, and each one has a totally critical role to play in constructing the reality we see all around us.
So we're going to follow this incredible unfolding, this journey. We'll start from a state of pure, unbroken unity, then move through the emergence of these hidden mathematical laws that shape literally everything and go all the way to the final unified cosmos.
All right, Act 1. Let's dive right in at the very beginning. We're going to see how FQFT builds reality from the ground up, starting from a state of pure potential, way before space and even time itself ever existed.
Everything starts here, with something called phi, or the Realica origin. Now, this isn't empty space, not at all. It's a field of total, unbroken unity. You can think of it like the ultimate source code for existence, a state of pure potential with absolutely zero disorder.
So, from this perfect unity, the first actors emerge on the scene, pi operators. And their job is, well, it's incredible. They introduce the very first flicker of distinction or contrast into that phi field. But, and you have to get this, they do it without breaking that underlying unity. They're like the first verbs of existence.
And what happens next is just brilliant. Those little distinctions, the ones made by the pi operators, they start to weave together. Before you have points or lines or any kind of shape, the universe becomes this fabric of pure topology. Just these interwoven knots of potential that are basically the ancestors of physical fields. It's only after this topological fabric is completely woven that it finally crystallizes into the 3D space we all recognize. And time? What about time? Well, it doesn't just pop into being. FQFT suggests it emerges from a simple logical necessity. To stop paradoxes, events have to happen in a specific sequence. So the arrow of time in this model is literally born from logic.
Okay, so that brings us to Act 2. We're moving beyond the familiar world of space-time and into the hidden dimensions. This is like the invisible engine room, where the fundamental laws of our universe are actually forged.
I mean, just look at this. This slide shows us the cosmic engine, and it proves the universe is anything but random. For instance, you see in the fifth dimension, these elegant mathematical harmonies are actually dictating the shape of entire galaxies. Then in the sixth, something called zeta regularization acts like a cosmic safety valve, taming all those chaotic infinities that plague other theories. These hidden layers, they're running the whole show, using everything from fractal patterns to a stable, self-correcting engine to keep physics on the right track. But underneath this entire complex engine, there is one supreme law, a single, unbreakable principle that acts as the ultimate guarantee of stability for the whole thing, making sure the entire 14-dimensional structure stays perfectly coherent. And here it is, zeta pi theta equals 1. Now, don't worry, you don't have to be a mathematician here. Just think of these variables as representing fundamental aspects of reality. Zeta for stability, pi for distinction, and theta for unity. FQFT calls this whole relationship ethical curvature. And it says this isn't just some formula, it's an absolute physical law. The universe must make sure this equation always equals 1. And this might be the most profound, most mind-blowing idea in the entire theory. In FQFT, ethics isn't a social thing. It's not a philosophical concept. It is a fundamental law of physics. Any interaction, any state that would make that value different from 1 is physically forbidden. It just can't happen. That's what keeps the universe balanced, self-correcting, and stable.
Okay, so you might be wondering, this is all amazing. These vast hidden dimensions, a supreme law of ethical stability, but how does any of it connect to us? To the simple act of us observing the world? Well, that question brings us to our final act.
The answer comes in the 11th dimension. It acts as the Realica bridge. This is the interface, the place where all the quantum possibilities of the universe finally transition or collapse into the single actual reality that we can measure and experience. It's the theory's answer to the quantum measurement problem.
And now let's bring it all home. We're at the grand conclusion, where the final layers pull everything together into one complete, coherent whole.
So these final 3 dimensions, they're like the universe's ultimate guarantors of stability. The 12th dimension is like a cosmic memory, constantly correcting for errors. The 13th provides this non-stop, infinite process of refinement. And it all culminates in the 14th dimension, where the entire 14-layer structure converges into a single, perfect, and self-contained geometric object, a state of absolute geometric unity.
And what we're left with is just deeply satisfying. We end up with a universe that isn't some accident. It's a universe built from a blueprint, founded on principles of unity, mathematical harmony, and a core physical law of ethical stability.
So, I want to leave you with this final thought. If the very fabric of reality, from the tiniest quantum flicker to the vast cosmic scale, is governed by a principle of balance and stability, a physical form of ethics, then what does that imply about our own place within this structured and maybe even purposeful cosmos?